Ireland is a nation of storytellers, and every corner of the island has a story to tell. Some stories come from ancient myths and legends passed down from generation to generation. Others are rooted in real history, from battles and invasions to shipwrecks, film locations, and modern events that still live on in local memory today. In this series, we're travelling around Ireland county by county, exploring places linked to mythology, folklore, history, cinema and culture, from ancient Ireland right the way up to modern times. First, let's head up north to County Antrim and look at the castle on the coast. Dunluce Castle in County Antrim became world famous after it was used as a filming location and visual inspiration for Pike Castle in Game of Thrones, the harsh island stronghold of House Greyjoy. Sitting on the edge of a towering cliff, the castle already looked like something from a fantasy world long before the cameras arrived. But the real history of Dunluce is more dramatic as anything on the show itself. The castle was built by the powerful MacDonald clan during the 1500s and became one of the strongest fortresses on the north coast. However, living on the very edge of the cliffs came with serious danger, and eventually disaster struck during a violent storm in the 1600s when part of the castle's kitchen collapsed directly into the sea below. The kitchens were built right on the cliff's edge, and during the storm, sections of the rock reportedly gave way beneath them. Servants working inside were said to have plunged into the ocean along with the collapsing structure, and legend claims that only one kitchen boy survived because he happened to be sitting in the corner that remained attached to the cliff. The disaster became so infamous that stories spread claiming that members of the MacDonald family abandoned parts of the castle afterwards, believing the site was cursed. In Galway, we'll head over to one of the smallest and most easterly of the Aran Islands in Galway Bay and look at this shipwreck on the island of Oírr. Keen-eyed Father Ted fans will recognise this shipwreck as the one in the opening credits of Father Ted, but this isn't on the fictional craggy island. This is the Plassey shipwreck, and it was originally built as a steam trawler in 1941 and was later converted into a cargo vessel. On March 8, 1960, the ship was caught in a severe storm at night while transporting a cargo of whiskey, stained glass and yarn from Liverpool to Galway. Struggling against the powerful waves and the gale force winds, the Plassey ran aground on Finnis Rock just off the coast of Oírr. The crew thankfully managed to abandon ship and reach the shore safely, but there was no saving the ship as it became embedded into the rocks where it remains to this day. In the aftermath of the wreck, the islanders of Oírr salvaged what they could from the cargo, including the whiskey barrels, which I'm sure they enjoyed. Over the years, the Plassey shipwreck has become an integral part of Oír's landscape, and today it's a popular tourist attraction for visitors to the island as they come and see the weather-beaten remains of this ship. The Curragh Plains, or the Curragh as it's known around Ireland, is an open flat plain of nearly 500 acres in County Kildare. The area is renowned for its rich history, extensive use in horse breeding and training, and its natural beauty. The Curragh, of course, is also steeped in Irish folklore and mythology and is often mentioned in legends and stories. The hill to the north of the Curragh is called the Hill of Allen, and it is said to be the meeting place of the mythical Fionn warriors. But the one story I remember from school was the story of St. Brigid and the founding of her monastery in Kildare. Shortly after her ordination by St. Patrick, St. Brigid sought to establish her own monastery. She found a perfect spot at the edge of the Curragh, which had an abundance of oak trees for fire and fresh water from a lake nearby. Brigid approached the King of Leinster, an old friend, and asked him for a piece of land in Kildare to build her monastery. The king, reluctant to part with his hard-won land, refused. But that didn't stop Brigid. She approached him for a second time, but this time with a peculiar request. She said, "Grant me as much land as my cloak will cover." The king, amused by what he perceived as a modest request, agreed and met Brigid on the plains of Kildare. When the king saw Brigid's small cloak, he laughed, not knowing what was to come. Brigid removed her cloak and instructed her 4 followers to each take a corner and walk in different directions, north, south, east and west. As they walked, the cloak began to grow and grow, expanding until it covered many hundreds of acres. Astonished, but true to his word, the king granted Brigid the land, and she founded one of Ireland's earliest Christian monasteries, often referred to as the Church of the Oak. To this day, a cathedral dedicated to St. Brigid stands on this hollow site, along with a magnificent round tower. Heading out west to County Mayo, my recommendation is the historic village of Cong. It is home to the iconic Ashford Castle, the stunning ruins of Cong Abbey, and the village offers a glimpse into Ireland's medieval past. It was founded in the early medieval period, and the abbey has seen centuries of change. The original abbey was founded in the 7th century. However, this early monastery faced many challenges, including Viking raids, which were common in Ireland during the 8th and 9th century. One of the most famous features of Cong Abbey is the monks' fishing house. Located on the Cong River, this is a small stone building which was used by the monks for fishing. Clever little construction, it had a hole in the floor, which meant the monks could fish directly from the river. The dissolution of the monasteries in the 16th century, under the rule of King Henry VIII, led to the decline of Cong Abbey, and over the centuries the abbey fell into ruin. In County Cavan, we'll look at another stone structure from ancient Ireland, known as Fionn Fingers. These are a set of 5 standing stones in the mountains of County Cavan, and the name is derived from the story that the giant Celtic warrior Fionn lost his hand in battle. And as you see in this picture, the stones rise dramatically from the earth, resembling a giant's hand reaching skyward. Next we'll visit the historic town of Longford, home of the beautiful Corlea Trackway. Discovered in the 1980s, the Corlea Trackway revealed an astonishing engineering feat from the Iron Age. Dating back over 2,000 years, this ancient wooden roadway measures an impressive 18 metres in length and 4.5 metres in width, making it the longest and widest Iron Age trackway ever discovered in Europe. The trackway was constructed from oak planks and was designed to traverse the boggy terrain in the area. Excavations around the site have also unearthed a wealth of artefacts, including wooden fragments, tools, personal items, offering a glimpse into the daily lives of these Iron Age people. In County Louth, I definitely recommend you to visit the Cooley Peninsula. It offers stunning views of Carlingford Lough and the Mourne Mountains. It's also been inhabited for thousands and thousands of years, with evidence of Neolithic settlements and Bronze Age activity found throughout the area. During the Iron Age, the Cooley Peninsula was home to a network of ring forts and hill forts, which served as defensive structures and centres of local power. In medieval Ireland, the Cooley Peninsula became part of the Kingdom of the Oírr, ruled by the O'Neill dynasty. It was during this period that the legendary tale of the cattle raid of Cooley was composed and passed down through oral traditions. The cattle raid of Cooley is one of the most famous tales in Irish mythology and was preserved in a 12th century manuscript. It recounts the epic conflict between Queen Maeve of Connacht and the hero Cumhaill over a prized bull. According to the myth, Queen Maeve of Connacht, seeking to enhance her wealth and prestige, set out to capture the brown bull of Cooley, owned by the ruler of Ulster. Maeve gathered her army and marched into Ulster, where she encountered fierce resistance from Cumhaill, the young champion of Ulster. Cumhaill was known for his incredible strength, and it is said that he single-handedly defended Ulster against Maeve's forces. The Glen of Aherlow is one of the most beautiful parts of Ireland, tucked away in the Galtee Mountains and on the long ridge of Slieve na Muck in County Tipperary. The valley stretches for miles, with forests, rivers, open countryside cutting through the heart of it. On a clear day, the Galtees tower over the landscape, while low mist often hangs low across the valley floor in the mornings. Even now, as I was hiking up there recently, the place feels ancient. And like many places in Ireland, the landscape carries a story. The ridge above the glen is called Slieve na Muck, from the Irish meaning mountain of the pig. And according to local legend, the name comes from a giant wild sow or pig named Bio. In ancient times, Bio terrorised the countryside around the Glen of Aherlow. She tore through farmlands, destroyed crops, and frightened the people living beneath the mountain. Eventually word spread across Ireland and reached a recurring character we see in a lot of these stories, Fionn the leader of the Fianna. Fionn was asked to hunt down this wild sow, with help from a local blacksmith named Lachlan. And the story goes that Fionn fell in love with the blacksmith's daughter, and hoping to prove himself worthy of her, he agreed to hunt the great beast stalking the valley. Fionn and the Fianna tracked Bio through the hills and forests around Aherlow for days. Finally, they cornered her on the slopes above the glen. The Fianna failed to take her down first, so Fionn had to face her alone.
As Beo charged towards him across the mountains,
Fionn drove one of Lauchlan's spears directly into the beast, killing her on the hillside overlooking the valley. And according to the legend, the mountain has carried the memory of that battle ever since, and also carries its name, Slieve na Muck, the Mountain of the Pig. That's it for today's video. I'm halfway through the 32 counties in Ireland for this series. There's still plenty of counties left, and I'm going to cover in the next video counties like Cork, Donegal, Kilkenny, Sligo, Watford and Westmeath. So if you have any myths, legends, local ruins, historical sites or local stories you want mentioned in that video, please let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoy these types of videos, please make sure to like and subscribe for more. Slán go fóill.